More and more, we are turning to the internet for DIY solutions to problems that crop up in our lives. For example, we're looking for answers to questions like, how do I fix this leaky pipe? So it seems only natural that we would turn to the internet for help with mental health issues. Is this the best solution? Of course not, but it's a good place to find answers while deciding or waiting to consult a doctor. That's what we're discussing today: DIY mental health. Hello, and welcome to Life Divergent. I'm Trina.
And I'm Jason. So, before we get started, quick reminder we are not doctors or licensed medical professionals. Stories, ideas, and experiences shared on this podcast are for informational purposes only. Please do not use this as a substitute for professional medical advice. Always consult with your own healthcare provider for any health concerns or before making any changes to your wellness routine. So, how about we dive right into this?
Okay.
So, I want to talk about how the neurodivergent community finds strategies, validation, and relief while waiting for professional help. There is a rise of self reliance.
All right. So, when the wait for professional help stretches out because you just can't get an appointment, people will look for ways to feel better in the meantime rather than just waiting.
More people are managing their symptoms on their own terms. A big driver of that is the long backlogs for professional appointments. I was trying to see a therapist, I suppose still am, and I was told, yeah, there's like a 3 month wait on that, which can be discouraging. So, self reliance bridges the gap between needing help and actually getting it. The aim really is relief for the most troublesome symptoms, whether that's real or perceived, right now.
All right. So, talking point number two is turning to the crowd.
Yes, people can look into feeds, forums, group chats, and podcasts. It's interesting how, what's it, pop culture? I don't know what the term is. Social
Sure.
sub, social networking? No. What's the word for that?
I don't know.
Social media. That's
There we go. Social media.
so interesting thing about social media. Same places where people scroll for entertainment are now where they go for practical lived experiences or strategies.
Right. Social media has become a first stop
There
for
it is. I
coping
swear to God,
strategies.
it's right there on the slide and I couldn't think of it.
Uh, all right. So, anyway, as I was saying, social media has become a first stop for coping strategies. And online support groups are popping up more and more, and they're sharing with one another what actually works for them day to day in dealing with their symptoms that they think that they have. Pure trade tactics for the symptoms that disrupt life the most, and crowdsourcing knowledge. So a lot of people are bringing what they know from getting therapy, or they're researching. And the good thing about the crowdsourced knowledge is that it's available in the moment that you need it.
Yeah. There is great relief in feeling that you're not alone, and communities can do that because it's not just about tips. There is that sense of belonging. I completely understand that. I have felt isolated before, way back before I knew a lot of this stuff really existed and what it meant. Felt like I was the only person in the world who thought the things that I did or felt the way that I do. And as it turns out, that's not the case. I've met people who have really helped me reestablish this sense of identity. I don't even know if that's what I'm trying to say. But
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like people can connect with me in a meaningful way. And it can be a real turning point, that
Yeah.
isolation is pretty hard to handle sometimes, but you can slowly build up a connection in these communities.
Right. I think that the power of validation is that, first of all, it gives you the ability to say, I'm not crazy. There is hope for me. Those validating voices really can put you at ease. There's also a feeling of being seen, and that in and of itself can lower your anxiety. and that can help you with some of your symptoms without you even realizing that you're getting help for those things.
So, are you familiar with Skynet, Cyberdyne, all those?
I don't know. Am I?
From the Terminator movie series.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Well, where I used to work, people would give me those names, Skynet, Cyberdyne, whatever, because I was very data driven. I would refer to my own information or knowledge as a database. Everything was about facts and details. And that was kind of a running joke because I was the only person there who was like that.
Huh.
And I have come to find out that's not like I'm not the only person who is like that. So the idea of I am not crazy, having met other people like me, is huge.
Right.
A personal example, touching on your point. Have
Yeah.
you had anything like that happen to you?
I think it's been pretty recent though. I've talked about it in prior episodes where, just the way that my brain processes doing anything or getting ready to do anything, how I just think it out, think it out, think it out, think about each step, and how it would kind of make me crazy. And I didn't realize that that was a form of anxiety until I was talking to a therapist and she told me, that's anxiety. And I was like, oh. But, I guess in a way I thought everybody did that. But at the same time, I was like, this is exhausting. It's frustrating. Why do we live like this? And it wasn't until, I got the validation and got some help. But again, this was after. After I saw a physician, but I guess in a way I thought I was crazy. But I thought everybody was like that, so I thought everybody was crazy in the same way.
And you don't anymore?
No. The more I've learned, the more I realize that I'm not crazy and that there are more people, even though not everybody feels that way. Some of the other things that I felt, that I knew, I just, I didn't know that other people felt certain things that I felt, like feeling like a failure all the time. And this all goes back to, I think ADHD, but for most of my life, I felt like a failure. Like no matter how hard I tried, I'd crash, I'd have my life together and then it would get turned upside down, or I would turn it upside down, however you want to look at it. But I could look at other people and see that they were more successful or better off, even though they didn't seem to work as hard as me or try as hard as me. And I thought there was something really wrong with me, but I didn't realize that something was really wrong with me. So, in a couple of different ways, I didn't realize that there was something wrong with me that I could have gotten help for. So I feel like if I had, had the ability back then, all those years ago, before the internet was really a thing, that I could have found out earlier that I was struggling from different mental illnesses. Yeah.
And the idea of being able to make the connections, getting that, I don't want to call it support, community support, I suppose, sure.
Right.
Helping you feel validated, connected it's a great way of coping with those feelings, similar to what you were just describing, while you're waiting for that professional help.
Right. It would have been nice to be able to discover some behavioral tools that could have eased my struggles. And even back then, I didn't know that I needed professional help. I thought that, it was just me, that there was something fundamentally wrong with me, Not that I had some condition in my brain or conditions, but it certainly would have helped if I had had that community so that I could have learned some coping, and I could have sought professional help at the same time.
Getting certain behavioral strategies from a community or just various social media that's reliable
Hmm.
can, like we said, that's the whole point of this episode, right? It can help with coping while you wait for the diagnosis. You can find practical coping mechanisms, not just these kind of far off theories that seem out of reach. You get the
Right?
perspectives of people who either are where you are or have recently gone through what you're currently going through. So they're real strategies that work from real people. It's a great way to find that relief right now, while you're waiting for that formal answer.
Yeah.
Gives you I mean, it's a head start on understanding and managing symptoms that will be formalized and clarified at a later time once you get that, get that real support.
You know how many years I feel like I've wasted or have been wasted of my life just again feeling like a failure, thinking something was wrong with me that couldn't be helped, not realizing that I had, brain differences. Again, people these days are so much luckier, I think, than we were back then,
Back in your
um,
day.
back in the day, yeah, because we didn't have access to the internet. And the other thing is, it was such a taboo to even consider that you had mental illness or anything like that. It was something that just really wasn't spoken about.
Yeah.
Um, so, I mean, it could affect who your friends were. It could affect you finding a job. I mean, people could
Mhm.
refuse to hire you back then. Um, so it just wasn't something that we really knew much about.
Yeah. God forbid you were a man back in the day, couldn't have feelings or, that was a problem.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't have my feelings as a woman either. So, but yeah, especially men struggled a lot, I think.
Honestly, that's still a challenge from what I've seen. There's some, or maybe it's just me. I still feel uncomfortable talking about feelings and things, and that could be part of the OCPD that we spoke about on the last episode.
Yeah.
But I do know there's a lot of reservation knowing that, or thinking that that will somehow discredit me or put the perception of me in people's minds that I'm not one to be taken seriously because I have feelings that are not just general neutrality.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's really nice that when you join communities on the internet and you find your people, so to speak, that even if you don't feel comfortable in certain situations talking about things, you can find a community where it's perfectly acceptable and it can make you again feel more like you belong and it validates your feelings. You just feel more comfortable being you in your own skin. um, and then of course we come up to the medication question as one of our talking points. One of the good things I think about being on the internet and being able to talk to people and discovering coping strategies is that it can form a more confident medication decision. Um,
Well, it can. What am I trying to say? Knowing how you cope with medicine can really give you a reference point if and when you decide to start medicating yourself.
oh,
Gives you a
you meant
baseline.
without. I think you said with. So knowing how to cope without, maybe.
Did I say with?
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
but
sorry. I know
that's
better.
okay. But you're right. I mean, I feel like getting these coping strategies, they can really offer you a baseline. Now you know how to kind of manage some of your perceived symptoms, and then once your treatment does begin, after you do get in to see a healthcare professional, you can compare how the medicine helps you or harms you, or I don't want to say harms you, but maybe doesn't affect you in a way that you find helpful. But as Jason has pointed out many times in our past episodes, um, if you are put on a certain medication and you don't find that that medication helps you in the way that you thought that it might, or in a way that you need it to, um, you need to speak to your professional medical advisor again so that they can work with you, because each not all medications work the same for all people, and sometimes it's a combination of medications, it's different medications. So don't give up. um, just I want to be clear that this isn't an anti-medication podcast, because it's about being better prepared before you do seek medication. I mean, I myself am on medication, but I also find that some of the behavioral techniques that I have learned, or the strategies, really do help me. So I rely on a combination of both to feel better. Um, but again, self knowledge before, during, and after your diagnosis is really going to help your healthcare professional better help you.
I think what you said, there's a really, really key takeaway. The fact that a medicine might not work does not mean you're beyond help. That's not your, oh, well, I tried and it didn't work and now I just suffer forever.
Right.
No. Could take a few attempts. And I know it can be discouraging. But I've never heard of a person say that they've tried a billion medications and nothing ever worked. There's always something that will help.
No.
Anyway.
And just a small thing there too. Even if you are a type of person who is worried about certain medications that can be prescribed for neurodivergent people, if you're worried about like stimulants or something like that, and you've had issues with addiction or anything like that in your life, there are medications that are not considered to be addictive that can be prescribed.
And tell your doctor.
Right.
Like if you're saying that, oh, I'm worried about taking these medicines because they're addictive, so I don't want to have the conversation. No, just tell your doctor that's a concern.
Right.
But they're not going to say, I don't care about how you think or feel. Though the meeting is about how you think or feel. Like that's the whole point.
Exactly.
So, and did we say trust your doctor? Because I mean, they're the ones who've gone through med school and
We
dealt
didn't,
with
but
1 decade or 2 decades or however long that they've spent their lives studying and dedicating themselves to helping people who are about as old as they've been studying it. So yeah, take the word for it.
If you find a doctor and you don't feel comfortable with him, know that you have alternatives. Look for a different doctor. But, if they can at least help you to get you going in the right direction while you're waiting for yet another appointment, take what you can from them. All right.
Okay.
And then talking point 7, Jason.
Oh, yeah, that whole thing. I like going off script. It's more fun.
It's fun.
Yeah. We should just one day pick a topic and throw caution to the wind.
Yeah.
But so similar to medicine, there's not going to be a single strategy that works for everybody, but being a part of the communities can help you hear about the different approaches that different people have taken. And you can find ones that work for you or combinations of one that works for you. And that's why this abundance of shared information is really important. You can mix and match and adjust and find the best version. However,
there is one essential caveat. None of this is a substitute for professional health. I think we've made that pretty clear as we've been going along. But remember that this is a way to feel better while you wait, not a replacement for care. Self-help and professional help work best side by side. And if you manage to schedule an appointment, because you know how difficult it can be to get one scheduled and to wait that time out, use the tools while you wait that help you. but don't cancel your plans to get professional help. Professional help is important in all of this.
And this is where I struggle. I know of people, I know there are a lot of people out there who think, oh, well, this is working for me. I don't need professional help. How do you know that it wouldn't work better if you get the advice and experience of people who do this for a living?
Right.
So this is, you have a choice between putting a Band-Aid on something or actually closing the wound.
And the other thing is, just because you have found some relief for some of your symptoms and you think, oh, hey, I guess I have ADHD. Well, maybe what you really have is bipolar, or maybe you're on the autism spectrum. Just because you find relief for some symptoms, what you may not realize is there's a lot of overlap. And we actually did an episode about the comorbidity between those three things: bipolar, ADHD, and autism. So, although you might find relief for symptoms, you can't be sure that what you think you have is actually what you have. That's why you need to depend on professional help to get a diagnosis.
Absolutely critical. But again, the point of this is talking about some interim stuff about community and just the reminder or even the awareness that you are not alone.
Right.
There's hope. There's help. So there.
So there. So I think we're about to wrap up for today, but I think that we kind of want to know maybe what strategies gave you your first real relief. You can let us know down in the comments.
We actually want to know.
Yeah, we actually do want to know. It'll help us with future episodes.
Yeah, and also, where did you find your communities? There are so many different resources out there. Maybe there are people who are listening / watching and they don't even know where to start, but you want to put some insight in the comments. People might then have a direction that will better their lives forever. And it'll be all thanks to you.
Right. With all that being said, I would like to let you know what we're going to be discussing next week. And that is, why does it seem that everyone is suddenly neurodivergent? Is it an epidemic? I hope you'll tune in next time to explore that topic with us. In the meantime, I hope you're well. Bye-bye.
I have to say, I can't help but want to say this. I hope they're well too, but maybe that's,
Mentally well. Healthily well. Healthily well.
I hope that this podcast will help you find the level of mental wellness that will make you happy.
There we go. All right. Again, bye-bye.
Farewell.